why did you decide to write this book? What was the motivation behind it?
Well, first, I just have to say thank you to all three of you for such kind words, and it really just moves me so deeply to hear such nice things and just to hear how, as you said, Amanda, just the impact that my dad's work has had on so many people, even so many years later. So thank you. In terms of my book, I really I think the first seed of it was sort of, I wrote an essay in like 2014 that was very much about how we grapple with mortality and the impermanence of being alive from a secular point of view, and how we grieve. And that's something that is one of the central questions for me in my life. I lost my dad when I was 14, and my parents raised me with this joyful worldview that science is not just a list of facts to be, formulas to be memorized, but a pathway to deep understanding, and an uplifting philosophy. And I think that that has served me so well. But it begs the question, when we go through these elements that we all experience in life, death being perhaps the biggest, most most difficult to reckon with, but also just coming of age and marriage and all these things that even for those of us who don't believe, we go through these changes. How do we do this without the infrastructure of religion? And I think it was born out of this question specifically about how do we do grief without the infrastructure of religion. But as I wrote about that, and I sort of got a sense of the interest in that subject, I thought, well, I'm also really, I don't want to be like so morbid that I'm such a downer that I'm only talking about this element of life, which is so important and I think really profound and not to be ignored. But there are so many of the other elements of life that are cry out to be marked and honored. And I wanted to figure out how we could do that without relying on ideas that are not supported by evidence. And that's sort of where the idea for the book started. But what was so fantastic was as I researched and tried to really get a overview of the holidays and celebrations and rites of passage around the world and throughout time, it was like if you just peeled back the first layer of time and place, if you just removed the specificity of the costume and the set and the script, all of us throughout history have been celebrating the same things, and they really are scientific phenomena. They're either biological events like birth, coming of age, and death, or they are astronomical events like the changing of the seasons, the equinoxes and solstices, the phases of the moon. And I think that there's something really beautiful about that. And it kind of contradicts the idea that, science and religion are so at odds, and that our connection with these rituals and traditions is antithetical to our deep understanding of how our world and universe work, that there is a way to do both without going through, have a scientific worldview without going through every day of your life like it's identical. And so that's sort of where the research led me, and it was really beautiful to me.